Hello and welcome to the Squirrelhead YouTube channel and welcome to the Liverpool versus Brighton preview. And we've got a good few injuries. I say a good few injuries. There's nothing good about it really, but we've got some injury news, and obviously people were saying there's people talking about Henderson being out, and we've got people out already, but there's some maybe positive. There's a glimmer of positivity in terms of defence as well, but we'll go into all of that. But first off, the new injury is apparently to Jordan Henderson. Now, earlier today, before Jurgen Klopp did his press conference, there was rumours that Jordan Henderson was going to be out. He's got a calf strain or something like that, and he was going to miss this game. Since then, however, Klopp has said he will train today and then they will see. And it's pretty much actually similar situation here with Matip. Joel Matip. Now, according to Klopp, he trained yesterday. He was really good. They take it day by day. So, what that sounds like to me is both with Henderson, but more so Matip, is that they're going to give them guys as much time and as much of a chance as possible to prove their fitness and prove that they're ready to play in this game. And it would be absolutely massive if we could have Matip back and him come back in and give us that bit more of a defensive solidity. We obviously showed our frailties against Wolves with the very, very, very lack of options that we had there. Obviously with Lovren going out injured, and the update on Lovren is that he will miss the Brighton game and he will miss Palace, but he should be back for the Leicester game. So big stuff there. I think Lovren is obviously out. Lallana is the other one that's out, but I don't think that really surprises any of us because we kind of expect that, when he's named on the bench, it's like, wow, he's not injured. But when he's injured, it's just kind of, that's Lallana, isn't it? He's the new, he's taken the mantle from Daniel Sturridge, let's put it that way. Joe Gomez is still out as well, but is apparently also looking quite good, and will hopefully, in about 2 weeks' time, he says, things should start to look a little bit better in terms of, the defensive injuries and such like that. So that's the injury update ahead of this game, which obviously means it plays into my how I'm going to do my starting 11, and it makes it a little bit easier. It puts especially with that news about Matip and the fact that Matip might be able to feature in this game is huge, because then it means that we don't have to have Fabinho in defence. Now, alongside Van Dijk, I'd even try Sturridge, just because he makes everybody look good in defence. He really does. He raises the levels. But being serious, having Matip in there as well, Matip played really, really well alongside Van Dijk. He actually played some really good games alongside him, obviously when we lost Joe Gomez, and then we lost Joe Matip. And he was playing really well. And I'd like to see him come back in, especially with Lovren being out as well. And I think that with Matip back in there until Gomez is back, Matip can take that spot and run with it. We're in a position now where we will have we've got enough time between games up until the Champions League kicks back in. We've got enough time in between games now, being out of both the domestic cups, that we should be able to have a good amount of rest period in between games that, obviously apart from the games itself where anything can happen, obviously anything can happen in training as well, injuries and such like that. But we just got to hope that we can get through this, and it'll just make it so much better. Coming up against someone like Brighton, a team like Brighton that are a difficult team, that they dig in, they grit in, they've got big physical presences up and down the pitch. Like, especially I think it is Brighton that have got Glenn Murray, isn't it? So he's a big physical presence up front. You want a big physical, experienced centre back to deal with that type of striker if he's playing. I don't really know how Brighton have been lining up, but I do know that their last game they played was against Brighton, and they won 3-1. Again, no, sorry, Brighton can't play Brighton. Brighton played against Bournemouth, and they beat them 3-1, and that's no mean feat, beating Eddie Howe's Bournemouth 3-1. They play good football, and they went and beat them. Brilliant stuff. Chris Hughton, he's done a good job with Brighton, I would say. So I think they will present their challenges. I don't, people might look at, we've beaten them like 4 or 5-0. I can't actually remember what our scorelines were when we last played Brighton. and how much we beat them by, or whatever. I don't. It's game by game. Everything is game by game. It's a brand new game. You can't just go on what we've done in the past and all that sort of stuff. They'll have learned things. We'll have learned things about them as well. And yeah, I think it's going to be a tough match. I really do. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. It could end up being one, but I'm just saying I don't feel like it's going to be a walk in the park right now. Alisson in goal, left back Andy Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip if he's fit, but most likely, well, obviously not most likely because we don't know what's going to happen yet. But if Matip isn't fit, Fabinho will be playing at centre back, because Jurgen Klopp mentioned something in his press conference that basically said he wants him to make sure and reiterate that if he is playing at centre back, that he does the simple things and doesn't try to do any like little flair things or anything like that. And I don't think that Fabinho is really that type of player to try. And obviously he's misplaced a pass every now and again, but he's not going to be back heeling it place. Well, hopefully not anyway. But yeah, so that's the centre back issues there. It's either going to be Matip or it will be Fabinho at centre back. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold has to be, in my opinion. And then we move into the midfield. Now, midfield, obviously, we've got to see what happens with Henderson. But I'm going to, go on the thought that maybe he isn't fit. And I'm also going to go with the fact that I think Matip will be in defence and Fabinho will be in the midfield. So, why I want Fabinho in the midfield, and I think a lot of people want Fabinho in the midfield forevermore. After the Man City game, we saw how our build-up play was quite slow, disjointed, and we really struggled to get any sort of foothold in the game. The fact that it was only 2-1 to Man City owes a little bit to the quality in our team that we have overall. But if we'd actually played to our strengths and played as well as we have done in the past, like even just a couple of games, well, when we played against Arsenal, we ran the show, and it's difficult to run the show against a team like Man City. But what it showed was when Fabinho came on the pitch, we started to get a little bit, and I say a little bit. You don't really take a great deal of control over Man City all the time. Normally, you've got to soak up pressure and try and counter. So when he came on, it just seemed that we were trying to actually go forward a little bit more. And I believe whatever you have in that midfield, whether it's a three-man midfield or however, if we're going to do a 4-2-3-1, however we're going to do it, Fabinho has to be there somewhere, because Fabinho seems to get the best out of Henderson. Fabinho seems to, like, partnering with, Wijnaldum as well, seems to get the best out of him as well. And I think they each get the best out of each other. But when you go with, and it's no slight on any of them, because you don't know what causes it really. Is it literally just the three of them playing together? When it's Milner, Henderson, and Wijnaldum, it just becomes a bit flat. Everything seems to be going sideways, backwards. Unless we come up against a team that lets us play through them, they're not going to be passing the ball forwards. And it looked a little bit like when it was Milner, Henderson and Wijnaldum, and we're lining up against a quality team like Man City, and we've seen it in the past as well. I think we'd lined up like that against PSG away in the Champions League, and it looked literally like they were scared to try and put a ball forward, and that is what Fabinho can unlock. Fabinho's got a range of passing that I don't know if anybody else in our team has. Maybe Virgil van Dijk sometimes, but he has a range of passing and vision that we haven't really had in our midfield for a long time. You could say since Gerrard. He's got a brilliant range of passing, but he's also got a good brain for short passing, long passing, medium range passing, and his link-up play going forward. Whether he's playing in the 4-2, 3-1, and he's playing in the deeper role, his way of getting it into the more advanced midfielders is really, really good. He's a battler on the ball, and he helps us win so many tackles in the midfield, get the ball back and move it, and that's what I like about him. He's a dangerous player for the opposition. He's a dangerous player for us as well. He's brilliant. He's magnificent, and I really feel that Fabinho is finding his feet. He's almost found them, and I'm pretty sure he's not far off having a starting berth in our starting 11. He's not far away from it at all, and I really want to see him. I just want to see him play. I want to see him in there with if Henderson is out. I mean, I'm going to play on the side that Henderson's out. either alongside Milner or he's going to play alongside Wijnaldum. Alongside Wijnaldum would probably make more sense. Wijnaldum's got a bit more, he's a bit more athletic, and I'm not taking anything away from Milner here or anything like that, but he's just got, I can't even say that he's got more legs than Milner, because Milner's got more legs than anybody, but I think that those two, if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1, Gini Wijnaldum and Fabinho, they play really well together. Wijnaldum does a lot of the dirty work. He will do box to box, whereas Fabinho will do a lot of your general CDM stuff. He will win you the ball back and he will get it moving, and that is what I think they would complement each other really, really well. Now, I'm obviously playing in the way that we are going to go into a 4-2-3-1, go back to it, because I think we came out of it for the Man City game, and I think that was maybe a bit of a mistake, but if we're going to go 4-2-3-1, I'm going with Fabinho and Gini Wijnaldum, and then in the midfield, in that advanced midfield, then it's got to be Salah, Mane, and then for me, it's got to be Shaqiri. It has to be Shaqiri, and that's nothing against Naby Keita. I just think that he needs a little bit more time, and whether he gets a bit more time off the bench, coming on later on in the game or something like that, I don't know. But I don't think Shaqiri's really done a lot wrong to pull him out of the team. So that's what I would like to see. Obviously, we're not going to see Lallana in there, which that'll please quite a couple of people. As long if they play well, I don't care who plays there. I really don't. Maybe Jurgen Klopp could see this as an opportunity for Naby Keita and put him in there, and then have Shaqiri coming off the bench. Who knows? And Firmino up front as well. That's how I would play it, but it probably won't be that. It'll be Shaqiri on the right hand side, Firmino in the number 10. And Salah up front, but I always line it up how I want it to be. But yeah, that's probably how it'll be. And the rest of the guys up front, Salah, Mane, Firmino, those guys have had rest. They have had rest. They did feature against Wolves. I think, did they all feature? I don't think they did, but they featured in some way, but they've had rest, and they should be fit and firing for this game, and I really hope that they are. I hope that we can come up against Brighton, and we can bounce back big time after the game against Manchester City. All hope is not lost here. All hope is not lost when we're 4 points still ahead of Manchester City. I can't say really 4 points clear anymore, because it's not really clear. If something happens in this game, say we draw it or lose it, then Man City are only 2 or 1 points behind us. If they win, whoever they're playing, it'll be difficult. It'll be difficult. But right now we're in the driving seat, and we've got an opportunistic January in front of us now. And I'm not disrespecting the teams that we're going to come up against, likes of Palace and Leicester. They all pose their threats, but people will be looking at this like we should be picking up points here. We should be picking up 3 points in this game. That's what people are looking at, and it's unfair to say, to be honest, because of the team that we are and how well we've been doing so far this season. We now need to enter 2019 properly and come up against Brighton, a difficult team, and break them down and get the result. That's what we need, and we need that more than anything, to be honest, because then if we can keep a 4-point buffer between us and Man City for as long as possible, if not extend it at some point, then I'm obviously all for that. And I think we can do it, and I think we will do it against Brighton. I think we will get the 3 points. I think it'll be a tight game. I think it'll be a 2-1. I don't know why I'm feeling 2-1. I just feel like it'll be a 2-1 to Liverpool, and I think they will make it really difficult for us to break them down. But on the other side of it, we could go out there and we could put on an absolute show, which would be good. But honestly, I don't care how we do it. I just want us to pick up the points. That's all I want us to do. I just want us to pick up the win, and however we do it, I don't mind. I really don't mind. If it's a scrappy 1-0, take it. Honestly, I'll take it all day long. And if it's a pasting, fine. I just don't want us to go out there and look lacklustre and give them the upper hand against us, or anything like that, because then we've really got to battle really hard. But yeah, that's my prediction anyway. I think we can win this game 2-1, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again, and I will catch you later.